Hello everyone and welcome to our Saturday live show. Today we'll be talking about Gutenberg because I had a chance to play around with it, so I'm excited to go through what I discovered while I was playing around with Gutenberg. For now, for those of you that don't know what Gutenberg is, this is going to be the new editor that will be replacing Tiny MCE editor. So this is the future of WordPress. So we might as well dive into it because in a few months, about April, May-ish, this is going to be a different way that WordPress is going to be doing things in terms of the editor. So let me show you the difference between the two editors so you can see what I'm talking about. So over here, I'm in a basic WordPress install. So this is the normal way that we pretty much edited our website. So we'll add our text in there. In fact, we'll just use lorem ipsum. Saves me from doing a lot of typing. So I'll just copy a bunch of text here like that. And then I'm going to paste it in here. Okay. So basically, we had two options here. We can either use the visual editor or the text editor, right? So this is where you get to add your HTML and CSS. Okay, so this is where now you would highlight your text that you want to make bold, like that. Make it bold if you wanted to. I mean, you know, how it is. So as we go through today's show, I'll be going through how the new editor is going to look like because we are able to install a plugin which will allow us to take a peek into what the future of this editor is going to look like. Okay, so I can see there's already quite a few people joining us. Thank you very much for that. In fact, let me give out some shout outs. I've got Art and Craft with BJ saying, hi sir, how are you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Rajesh says, hello everyone. Yes, thank you very much for tuning in. Private says, hi, all South Africa is here. Hope you're well, Mac. Awesome. It's nice to see that, you know, we also have people coming, you know, from all parts of the world. Awesome. I can see Monique Robinson just joined us. Awesome. John is in the house. Hi, John. Thank you very much for tuning in. Art and Craft with BJ says, please help me choose a laptop for web designing. In fact, we can talk about that later. Victor from Italy. Victor, thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate it. So those of you who are just joining us, we are broadcasting on Facebook and also on YouTube. So, okay. So as I was mentioning, we are going to be talking about the new editor that WordPress is going to be releasing in a few months, which is about April, May. So what I'm going to do now is to pretty much show you what happens when you install the plugin. So as I mentioned a few moments ago, this is the old editor. It's called Tiny MCE. So when Gutenberg replaces this, this is going to look a lot different. So what I'm going to do now is to just show you how you can install the plugin. So if you want to go in and play around with the plugin, you can actually go and download this plugin. So I'm going to come over here to plugins, click on all plugins. And right here, you can see I've installed it. It's called Gutenberg. I'm going to click on activate. Now let's take a look at what the page will look like. So I'm just going to come over here and let's say create a brand new page. Now, here's the thing. This is the new editor, okay? Brand new. So this is what things will look like when WordPress switches to Gutenberg. So as you can see at first glance, it's quite confusing how you get started, but as you play around with it, you'll notice that it's not as bad. So here we can add our title. So let's just call this test title. Like that, and then here you can write your story. I'm just going to copy some text here from lorem 2. I'm going to paste it in here like that. So as you can see, this layout here, or the way we are building our page here, is block based. So this is what WordPress is calling it. This is going to be a block based editor. So over here, if I mouse over this plus button, you can see here it says add block. Okay, so hence the where the block comes from. So I'm going to click this plus button, and now we can start to see all the items that we can add in those blocks. So if I come over here, we can add audio, image cover, gallery, heading, image, list, paragraph, and so on, and even video. Okay, and then over here as well, you get this code, classic, custom HTML, table, and so on. We also have widgets. So it does quite have a few things that you can start adding. So let's start by adding, say, let's say for a cover image. So I'm going to click on add from library. So right now I have this image in my library. I'm going to add that like that. So you can see now that it's added, and here I can also add a title. Okay, so that's going to be my title. So what I'm going to do now is I can either save as draft. I can do a preview here on the top right. I'm not sure if you can see that. So I'm just going to click this preview button. So this is what it looks like on the front end. Okay. So it's not too different to what we are seeing here. And one cool thing as well that we can do here is when you mouse over this area here, we get these little arrows, so we can actually move this image up, and then this paragraph moves down. So actually this is quite cool. Now, if I click on publish, I'll just publish the page, and then I'm going to view it here. Okay, so this is pretty much what it looks like. So as you can see, it's very basic. And right now, I'm just using the normal theme that comes with WordPress. So again, if you want to edit it, you can just go back to edit page. And then that takes you back into your editor. Now over here on the right as well, you have block. So let's say you have this block selected. It gives you more options to customize it right here. Okay, so as I was looking at this, I was saying to myself, wow, this looks like two places that I frequent online, and this is Medium and also LinkedIn. They kind of like have a similar way of doing the editing. So this is where I probably thought maybe WordPress got their inspiration on. But anyway, that aside, this just shows that WordPress wants to improve things. I don't necessarily think that this is a war against the visual builders like DIVI, Elementor, Beaver Builder. As such, I think this is WordPress trying to sort of like modernize things and move with the times. So let's take a look at these two websites that I've just mentioned and see how things are done. So right now I'm on LinkedIn. So let's say I want to write an article. So I'll just click on write an article. Now you can see some similarities here. I can add my headline. So let me just call this test like that. Now here, if I click this plus button, it gives me these options. Similar. I wouldn't say it's the same, but it's pretty much similar to what we have there with the new Gutenberg. Okay, so you can add an image, upload image from computer. So let's do that. I'll just upload an image. Okay, so that's my image. I can also add this plus, and then I can choose what I need to add next. So, I mean, you get the idea. And then over here, you can also start typing. So I can start typing away. So this is pretty much similar to what we have there with WordPress. Now, let me show you one more website. So this is a Medium. So same thing, it starts off with the plus button here. So if I click this plus, there's an option whether I want to add an image, a video, and so on. So let's start by adding our image. Okay, so that's our image. You can center it and so on here. And then I can click this plus button here to add more things. Now I can start typing my text. So I'm just going to copy it and paste it here. So you can see that this is pretty much where Gutenberg is going. They're trying to modernize things, and in my opinion, I think it's a good way forward, and this is going to really make a lot of changes. Now, by the way, if you want to ask some questions, please do leave your comments in the comments box, either on Facebook or on YouTube. Okay, so if you're just joining us, we're just talking about Gutenberg and how it's going to change things for the future. And the future is going to be happening very, very soon. Okay, so let me just check and see if we have some questions here. Already I can see Bozo says, bonjour, I'm subscribing to your free WordPress course, but when I try opening it, they send me on unsubscribing page. What can I do? Thanks. Okay, we are going to address this because I'm not sure what the problem is there. Okay, let me see if we have any more questions here. Okay, so we don't have any questions so far. So what I'm going to do quickly here is to just address this problem. This was just raised about the free course. So I'm just going to log into the website and see what the problem is. Okay, so just in case this takes long, what I'll do is I'll take a look at the website and see if there's any problems. And then what I'll do is I will get back to you and let you know what is happening in that regard. Okay, so John from South Africa has just joined us. Thank you very much for tuning in. Now, if you're just joining us, we are talking about Gutenberg today, what it looks like, and how it's going to change things moving forward. So currently, we have the tiny MCE editor. So that's going to be replaced soon. So we were just covering the new block-based editor, so that you can have a look at what it's going to offer. Now, today's show is going to be pretty much short because I just want to pretty much show you a few things about Gutenberg, but I'm working on a tutorial which is going to be in-depth where I go through all these features. So I'm just going to go back here and take a look at a few things that we can add onto this page. So if I come back here on edit page, right, as I mentioned briefly, if you select your block here, and then over here on the right, this will give you more options. So you can see here that I can increase the size of my text, like that. I can add a background color, simply by just clicking it in there. I can also change my text color, like that. So maybe we might need to make this background darker. Okay. So there's a few things we can do, but as you can see, this is far from what visual builders can give us, because with Divi, you have way more things that you can do to edit this page. So as you can see here, there's no option to choose any builder. In fact, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to install Gutenberg on a Divi website and see what happens. Okay, so I haven't tried this before, so this is going to be very interesting to see what happens when I do that. So this is a Divi website. So I'm just going to come over here to plugins, click on add new. I'm going to search for it. Strange. Am I spelling it wrong? Let me take a look here. Okay, so in fact, the spelling is right. So not sure why that is happening. Okay, let's see. I guess. Okay, here we go. So I've got it here. You can see it's been installed about 5,000 on 5,000 websites. So I'm just going to go ahead now and click install. And then I'm going to open a normal page in DIVI and see what happens. So I'm going to click activate. So as I mentioned, I haven't done this before. This is the first time I'm doing this. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens when I open a DIVI page. So I'm going to come over here now on pages, click on add new. Whoa. Okay. So you can see the builder is nowhere to be seen. So this is currently not compatible with any builders out there pretty much, because if it's not working for DIVI, I assume that it's going to be the same thing with other builders as well. But what's interesting here is I can see that in fact we don't have all the options for this MemberPress plugin. But as you can see, this is, I guess, why a lot of these builders, I know for sure that DIVI is going to be working behind the scenes to enable the builders in some way to make it work with our WordPress website. So this is something that we are looking forward to, but definitely this is going to be a massive change. And also plugins have to be compatible with the new builder as well. So this is going to be very, very interesting. So if you have any questions, please leave your questions in the comments box and I'll do my best to answer those questions. Coffee Design says, morning everyone from US. Thank you very much for tuning in, Coffee Design. Toronto Hotspot says, the new WordPress editor will be great for people starting in WordPress and not have to see the current intimidating interface if they are brand new to online content creation. Yes, I agree with you. I think if you're brand new to WordPress and you go into this new editor, definitely this is going to be much, much easier, because currently things are a bit tricky, because sometimes we take it for granted that because we've been working with WordPress for a very long time, it's easy for everyone to pretty much use it that way. And I can assure you that it's not. So yes, I agree with you, Toronto Hotspots. John says, free masterclass allowed me to subscribe again with another email address. I have it. It will work fine once bugs out. Okay, so let's take a look if there's any more questions here. Helen Webster says, try with an E. I guess that's what I was doing. I was typing the spelling wrong. But anyway, thanks a lot for that. Right. Okay, so With Gutenberg, can you add element on full screen? Victor, okay, that's Victor asking that question. The question is, will Gutenberg, you can add an element on full screen? In fact, that's a question. No, from what I've tried so far, you can't. There is no, I mean, you can't do it full screen. So let me just open a page here so we can, yeah. So here on this page, this is all I have. So you can see when I select this block here, or even when I click on more options, there is no option for full screen, as you can see. And let me just select it one more time. Okay, so over here, yeah, from what I can see, you can't. In fact, let me try and add something new and see if there's any options here. So I'm going to select this cover image, add from library. I'm going to select my image one more time. So throughout this process here, all I have for my options here is just the background dimness. That's all I have. And then I also have the alignment left or right. And the document here, page attributes, no, nothing. So as you can see, this is what you get when you use the new Gutenberg. But I think if you have a theme that allows you to have a full width, an option for a full width, that may allow you to do it, but I haven't tried that yet. But as you can see, this is pretty much what you get. And to be honest, it's very bland, it's boring. You know, there isn't much that you can do right now with this. So even if I say view this page, you can see it's very plain, it's very boring. There's very little customizations that you can do at the moment. So this is why Elegant Themes, they're working behind the scenes to make sure that when this change happens, we are able to still have all that Visual Builder power to design all our pages. I don't know how it's going to look or how it's going to integrate yet, but as you can see, this is going to be a massive change, and it is going to be very exciting to see how things are going to change. But yes, you can't do full width unless you know how to use CSS. You would probably go into CSS and maybe you're able to do that. But as for my case, I don't really like CSS, so I'm just hoping that things will be easier as we start doing this. Okay. So Victor, I hope I've answered your question. Okay, John, I get it. I mean, I realized that you were talking about the builder, not the class, so that's cool. Okay. Right, so it looks like we don't have any more questions. Let me just check on Facebook here. Okay, so it looks like we don't have any more questions. So this one's going to be a short one, but next week I'll be here live again, going through answering your questions about WordPress, and also discussing any issues that you may want to discuss on the show. So we're going to call it a day for today, and see you next week. Thank you very much for all of you for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. In fact, what I'm trying to do now is to get a specific time. So I think I will have this show every Saturday at 12 UK time. So I think that's going to be the time, which is brilliant, because right now it's kind of like a bit random, 1 o'clock, sometimes 1:30 my time. So I'm going to bring it down to say 12 UK time, and so that it's a bit consistent. Okay, so thank you very much for tuning in. See you next week, and have a great weekend.